Hey, what's up? That riff, I kind of dig it. I just came up with it, and maybe that's going to be another one of those songs on the 80s EP that I have coming out. We'll have to see. But anyways, what's happening, guys? We are rocking with another lesson today, and I hope you're ready for an arpeggio workout. Yep. So that's what we're talking about today. I have 4 different arpeggios for you, but basically 5 different concepts that I want you to try to practice. This is a really good strength builder, just arpeggio builder. These are very movable shapes. And tabs for it is linked down below in the description. Check out my free guitar course if you're feeling like it. And other than that, let's just go ahead and get into the lesson. Alright, so the first one we're going to talk about here, and I want you to try to do each of these, set minute goals. So maybe try to do one shape for 1 minute, take a little breather, go to the next one. This is really where the workout comes in this one, but the first things first is you've just got to get the shapes under your fingers. Now the first one here is a diminished arpeggio, and basically what we're doing is, this is kind of the way I approach arpeggios. I don't do a lot of the traditional kind of, where it's basically like 1 note per string, which is really good to practice those, but what I found that worked really well for me is what I call either like a 1-2-1 or a 2-1-2 pattern across the fingerboard. Now this one I'm starting on a 1, so I go 1 note, 2 note, 1 note, 2 note, 1 note, 2 note, the whole way through the arpeggio. What I'm talking about is I'm going to play 13 on the low E string. Now you can sweep pick these if you want to, and you're going to go 11 to 14 then on the A string. Now that is a hammer-on, so pretty much anywhere, there's one spot where it's not true, pretty much anywhere that I have 2 notes I'm hammering on or pulling off. Now, I do need to apologize. The way I tabbed out the first 2 arpeggios, the diminished and the minor 7, I think I started up here. I don't know why I did that. But you can see where I end up, you can see in the tabs where I go to 13. So just if you need to, start from that point. But at least now you have ascending and descending. So like I said, 13, and then 10 to 14 on the A string, which is down, down, hammer. Okay, now I go to 12 on the D, which is now a single note. So that means that our next string is going to be 2 notes, which will include another hammer-on. 10 to 13. Now, once you really get your hands in sync, doing this type of arpeggio, it's kind of a little bit easier because of all those hammer-ons and pull-offs. It gives our hand more time to get to the next note. So it relaxes our right hand a lot. So we have this. Okay, so it's still sounding very diminished. 10 to 13, which is another down. So I have down, down, hammer, down, down, hammer. Go to 12. I'm using my middle finger here. This is just kind of how my hand naturally falls through the pattern. But that means that our next one's going to be 2 notes. So we're going to go 10, 13. Now that one I don't do a hammer on. I actually pick, because basically when you get to that 13, that is when you're starting your descent. Descendination. See, so that's a down, and I pick this 13, and then I start, and I go, there's my pull off. Okay, so hopefully you can see how that is me. You can see my right hand, it's just one fluid motion all the way through the strings. Now you want to get to where you can do this comfortably at whatever tempo. The tempo's not that crucial, it's more I want you to have a very controlled sound. This is where the workout part comes in, because it's easy to get like really good, like maybe you're naturally better at descending than you are ascending. So your descending's really fast, ascending's really slow. Make sure they're all the same, keeping all your notes very evenly spaced. I always compare it to like doing a push-up, you know, like you'd always have the guy in gym class who's doing the real quick small push-ups, and then you're like, hey, that's not a real push-up. When you do it real slow and do like the full extension, then it burns your muscles. That's what this is. So the speed side of it is not what we're after. It's the exercise and getting these patterns under our fingers. set a timer, do it for 1 minute. I'm not going to do it full 1 minute because it'll take the whole video. But that's our first shape. So that's a nice diminished pattern. This one is really cool because you can move it up or down 3 frets at a time. Same pattern. All over the place. Oh, maybe. Nope. Fingers getting a little bit confused on me. There you have it. Now the next one was this A minor 7, and again, I apologize to tabs. I didn't, all the notes are correct, but for some reason I started up here, which is actually how I typically do arpeggios. I descend more than I ascend, but just go to the 12 on the low E string, and that's where I'm kind of starting right here. Now, A minor 7 is kind of a cool sound because it's basically 4 of the 5 notes in your A minor pentatonic scale. So if you know your A minor pentatonic scale, you've probably been playing minor 7 arpeggios this whole time, and you might not even know it. So we're going to start on 12 again here. Now I'm leading with my pinky this time, and this is just because after you learn the shape, you can kind of like, decide which fingers are the most crucial and the best ones to use to make it a very smooth sound. So we have 12 on the low E string, and I'm going to go 10 to 12 on the A string. Now remember, our right hand pattern is the exact same on every arpeggio. That's what makes this, 1-2-1 or 2-1-2 pattern so powerful. All you have to do is learn something new with your left hand. Your right hand always stays the same. So I'm going 10, hammer on 12. 10 on the D, and then 9, hammer on 12 on the G. So we have... Okay? Notice my right hand is just smoothly kind of falling through the strings. Not really even pushing the pick through the strings. I'm letting it almost fall through the strings. 10 on the B, so that means our next one's going to be 8. Now that's a pick, and then 12 is another pick. So that's the only time that we have 2 notes that are picked, right in a row. Pull off, back to 10. 12, pull off to 9 on the G. 10 on the D. 12, pull off to 10 on the A. And then 12 on the low string. And I should say, actually, let me see something. Yep, I need to start that with an up. So once I cycle it... No, I don't. That 12 is a down because that's starting the next pattern. So make sure that if you're going through that one, up, pull off, this is a down. That way you're repeating it the same way. And there's your minor 7. Arpeggio. Now this is the one I use all the time. I move it around a lot and get a different pattern. Like all that's minor 7. Alright, are your fingers burning yet? Because we're about to go to the major 7 arpeggios. These are another one that's really, really cool. I like to pair it with a normal, A major. A lot of times I'll do something where if I'm going... Like that was a major 7. My hands are a little bit sloppy right now. Into my normal major. But this one we're actually doing back here. Like I said, right hand stays the same. So once you get that down, your left hand is just the only one to really focus on. So this one's going to start on 12 again. We're always starting on 12 because all these arpeggios, other than the diminished, have your 5th in them. So E is the 5th of your major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, whatever other one we did. But we're going to go 12 on the low E string. Okay. Now you're going to go to 11, 12 on the A string. Now I lead with my middle to ring finger here. And all of these are really nice because they're constantly making us utilize different leading fingers, different kind of combinations and stretches. This one has a really cool stretch in it. So we're going to go 12 and then 11, 12. Now I go to 11 again on the D with my middle finger. So far it's been all these 3 fingers. So, which is kind of like an interesting feel for your left hand. Now I go to 9 and then 13. Now, like I said, we're not so much focused on the theory side of stuff. You could really break this down if you wanted to, because basically we're going from our 5th, that's our major 7, because this is a major 7 arpeggio. There's our root, that's our 3rd, there's our 5th again, there's another major 7, there's our root, major 3rd, and then there's our 5th. So, But we're just gonna, we have this so far. Okay, so that 9, and that's gonna be a hammer on to 13. 10 on the B with your middle finger. 9 on the high string with your pointer finger. And then 12, so. Oh, hold on. I messed up. I was thinking of the wrong arpeggio. Started to go to a dominant 7. So that is, you know, your major 7 arpeggio. Again, a really, really fun one. I love the way major 7 stuff sounds. Such a really, really cool, just like sound. All over the place. You know, another major 7. Like I said, they're all over the place, so. Major 7 arpeggio, baby! Woo! Alright, now the final arpeggio, but there's actually one more exercise I'm going to talk about after this one, so don't kind of like bail out just yet. This is a dominant 7, so the two probably main arpeggios that I use are honestly my dominant 7 arpeggios all the time, and I use minor 7. I use the, you know, diminished, and what was the other one we did? The major 7. I use those, but the dominant 7 and minor 7 are just like staples and whenever I'm playing stuff. So basically, the dominant 7 is very similar to your major 7. The only difference is that you need to replace all those major 7s or your, you know, G sharp notes with G notes, which means it's a minor 7. So if you don't know the, you know, chordal numbers that make up the dominant 7 chord, it's your root, your major 3rd, your 5th, and your minor 7. That's what makes it different from your major 7 arpeggio. So basically we're going to start on 12 again, then we go 10 to 12 on the A. This is just, you know, ends up feeling very pentatonic, is really what I kind of look at it as. Almost that box, box 3 shape of your A minor pentatonic scale. So we go 12, 10 to 12 on the A. Remember, picking everything the same. If you have 2 notes, it's a hammer-on or a pull-off, except for the last section. Okay, now here's where it kind of like varies from your normal minor pentatonic scale. We have to get that 11. So that's your major 3rd. That would be your minor 3rd. So we have minor 7 to root, major 3rd. Here we're going back to our 5th, which is our E note, or 9th fret on the G. So now, instead of reaching up to that 13 this time, this one's a little bit easier. You just have to go to 12. Because remember, we need the minor 7, not the major 7. So 10 on the B, 9 on the high string, and then 12. Pull off, and work it back down. And there you have that one. Now, when I'm saying I use this one a lot, it's because in rock and blues and stuff, that minor 7 and dominant 7 are so close to just being the pentatonic scale. And I do a lot of patterns where I'm kind of like, you know, something like that inside of that. There you have it. So that is just kind of, like I said, that's how I would use that one. But those are the 4. Now, I have one more section here I want to talk about before we get into these, and we're going to kind of like wrap things up here. Alright, now the final part of this that I want you to try to do is, you know, we were utilizing a lot of hammer-ons and pull-offs the whole time throughout these. Now, a really good thing to practice, because of the note selection being 1 note or 2 note, 2 note, and 1 note, is to practice picking all of these as well. So, I know the whole point of the hammer-on pull-off is to make it easier in right hand. Well, this is, I want you to strictly alternate pick this stuff. Like, no directional picking, as in like, you know, economy or hybrid, none of that kind of stuff. Just sit there and go. Go to the next one, minor 7. Major 7. Got a little bit sloppy there. Then dominant 7. So there you guys go. Like I said, practice each of these a minute, 2 minute. Try to like challenge yourself with this just as a workout. You can move them up chromatically, do whatever you want with them, but just have fun with them. I use these shapes all the time in my own playing. So other than that, we're gonna bounce on out of here, guys. Whoop!